with Warner Bros. Merging with Paramount, this could either completely reshape movies and media in a good way, or the expectations are going to be so high that anything else less than perfection will feel like a failure. Is this a power move or a pressure cooker? Yes, I feel like this merger altogether. Um, it's literally what two powerhouses kind of merging together.
Hmm.
They have the platforms and the expectations are genuinely going to be through the roof. I have a
Yeah.
feeling, just with how colossal each of these companies are. I think that when it comes to movies altogether now, especially getting a little bit more into it, certainly through this show and in your savantness, as I always say. Um, I honestly feel like the criticism of movies is kind of at an all-time high.
Hmm.
Like people are very judgy, with, whether it's a show, it's a, just people can be uber critical. And I feel like that's definitely going to be the case here with Warner Bros. And Paramount, just because of the expectation level
Yeah.
altogether. Is there like right off the bat, was there like any releases that they're already kind of coming together on? Because you might have a little bit more detail shaping it up too, but I
Yeah.
definitely feel like the expectations are going to be through the roof.
Yeah, no, the expectations are going to be through the roof because it's not just two powerhouses, it's three because Warner Brothers
Ooh.
comes with HBO Max.
Uh,
So they got a lot with HBO. If if you're a HBO Max subscriber, there's a lot of stuff that
yep.
you watch on there. But I think one of the things I took from one of the interviews, they were really interested in Star Trek. I think this could be a great start to revamping Star Trek because I was a fan of the Star Trek movies. I liked the first one. Second one was okay, but after that it sort of fell off for me.
Hmm.
Um, and I think what they could do with Star Trek, it could be great. And
Hmm.
it's also Warner Brothers now partnering with Paramount because Paramount a few years ago was sort of going under. Then the CEO came and made a big change, and it is one of the top, one of the top studios and even streaming platforms out there. And with this purchase, or I don't know if it's a fully purchase or just a merger, but with this merger purchase, this could be the comeback for DC that they need and finally be able to compete with Marvel is going to be my question is could this push DC over the top? Because if they have to strike, they have to strike now because Marvel isn't at the high at the all-time high they had with Avengers like Endgame, Infinity Wars. It's a little down. We are excited for the new Avengers coming out, which could sort of push it back up. But DC, this is their chance to maybe jump over Marvel.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, yeah, could that be, the revitalization that, DC really needed? You prefaced a lot with, James Gunn, joining DC Universe and with what he did with Batman. Um, yeah, or Superman, right? My bad.
Hmm. Yeah.
And it could be the start of something here, with combining. I didn't know HB was going to be a part of it, and I'm kind of curious because, like, I subscribe to HBO Max. Is it just going to be merged now through one app altogether? Are they going to keep separate apps, you believe,
Mhm.
or kind of like a Hulu, where it gets absorbed by Disney?
I think that's a big question everybody has. It's like, what's gonna happen with the streaming? Because Warner Brothers, HBO was one, Paramount is another. Now, is it that they're gonna combine together, do one just streaming app, call it something, Paramount Max or something like that? Um, and or are they going to do it separately and just raise up the price, make it more expensive? If I was a CEO, I would find a way to combine it all together and still make it affordable for people, not make it feel like cable television and start having to pay $90 for to subscribe because that's where you're going to lose a lot of people, even though you guys are the most dominant platform out there right now with streaming. Because like I say, Netflix was getting really close of acquiring this, but they didn't. Um, is it a good thing? People say it is. People say it isn't. I think Netflix it's great, but I think they're trying to do too much, and I think they may have ruined what could have been. And I'm excited about this merger a little bit more.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's good. In I guess a quick follow-up question regarding this, as many of us do in today's world, subscribe to a ton of different streaming
Hmm.
avenues. I have it in complete replacement of any sort of cable television.
Hmm.
And I just have a bunch of different streaming services at this point. But do you prefer these mergers to kind of have a one-stop shop for it? We're seeing it with Disney Plus, ESPN, and Hulu. You kind of get
Hmm.
all in one. Probably a lot of the same here. To be seen yet, but maybe we're heading that
Hmm.
way. Do you prefer that? Obviously, it's going to be a boosted price, but at least you can find everything you're looking for in one app versus multiple. I guess it kind of depends, but
Yeah, I would prefer it. I don't mind it. I liked it a lot, because I just go to the Disney app and get Hulu, get everything there. Uh,
Mhm.
I will say it was a little weird though going into the Disney app when it first was happening and seeing like these, I think it was like aliens, and my kiddo was just sitting there and like, scrolling through all these stuff. I'm like, yeah, you shouldn't
Yeah.
be watching this or see what those like posters look like. But like I say, in the end, I think it's gonna be great. I think that's what they should do. Keep it affordable. Like I say, if you want to go without commercials, pay a little extra, have that premiere, tier of subscription. But I think that's the big question a lot of people have, and we're all going to be curious to see what they do and how accessible it's going to be because it's gonna lead to I think we've already had streaming wars, but it's gonna lead to what the future is gonna look like streaming and also just television, cable television.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. It'll greatly change things. And then Paramount is who is in control of the UFC now, right?
Yep.
So, yeah, are we going to see it, for multiple sports? Who's going to get in on what? We see obviously Amazon Prime having Thursday night football. It's just everybody kind of has their hands in everything. It's really hard to
Mhm.
keep up with a lot of
Yeah.
times. And it takes there is an adjustment period for many. But I second that though with going into the Disney Plus app because I did that yesterday. We watched Inside Out, and on the way through it, I think I saw Alien versus Predator, and we were like,
Yeah.
screw right past that one. And then you see just a whole bunch of random like movies that you never show your kids,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's just hilarious though because it's way different. Before it's
Yeah.
like it was sunshine and rainbows, and then now you're just getting a mix of everything.
Yeah. It was funny. I think the first time I saw it because some of the shows I was like I don't need my kid to see what this is about, like these shows or the posters to it, because some of them aren't even that appropriate, honestly. So,
Mhm.
but yeah, and then I think the other big news I sort of saw reading a few articles about this is what what's going to be a high expectation for this Paramount Warner Brother merger is whoever is the CEO and running these studios now has to release 30 theory, theater films during the year. That is the expectation. 30, and that's a lot of big movies. And,
Mhm.
and like I say, when you bring out these movies, the goal is make money, get the views, get nominated. So, can they live up to that expectations now under all one umbrella? We'll see, because I think it was already hard enough what some of these studios were doing, and now having to do 30, that's crazy.
For sure. Yeah. No, it's that. And then I'm also seeing here about John Oliver.
Hmm.
He is not pleased, I guess, with the Paramount buyout of Warner Bros. And then a lot of people are kind of saying, watch him go to Netflix and rename his show and start up with Netflix again. So
Yeah.
yeah, I guess you have, these
Hmm.
these other talk show hosts that,
Yeah.
their contracts will be up. Who knows what direction they're going to go to. But yeah, that can make a difference also. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah. It's crazy. And like I say, I understand. Some people might think Netflix is better. I enjoy Netflix a lot. I like Paramount a lot as well. I like shows that are on there.
Mhm.
Landman, we talked about it a little bit. Jerry Jones had his
All that
you
oil.
know, call that oil in season one. But like I say, Netflix does well, but I have some things against Netflix because like I say, they're one of the top streaming providers. And I don't know. I think you watch it. Love is Blind. Do you watch that, Tim? Jenny watch
Oh,
it?
dude, yeah. Wifey was watching it over the weekend.
Yeah.
Did watch a bit. We talked a little bit about the couples.
Yeah.
I was like, did this show die out? And then, because we talked about it,
Yeah.
and she's like, no, no, it's bigger than ever right now. And I was
Yeah.
like, all right. So then we watched a bit. Yeah, no, 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 yeah, it's a big
Yeah.
show. Like it.
It's a big show. And I think the one reason I'm sort of like frustrated with Netflix and the reasoning is like during the show, and spoiler alert, if you haven't seen, I think it's between the first four episodes, it was the first release the first week, uh, you're in for a spoiler. If you already saw it, cool. If not, turn it off for the next 10 minutes. But in that, once they find their match, they see each other, and then they usually go off to Cancun, somewhere in Mexico, that they
Mhm.
always send them out for their honeymoons and, their time alone. What they did this season and the reasoning for why they did it, I think is bullshit. But they sent a majority of the couples to, I think it was like Cabo, somewhere in Mexico, but then they sent one couple to Malibu by themselves. So, and that couple that went to Malibu is probably the strongest couple in my mind. Not too much drama or anything. But then we read with Vera, we read into it. The reasons that they sent that couple to Malibu is because they've never have sent six couples to the honeymoon phase, the next stage. And they're like, it costs too much money to send an extra couple to do all that. And I'm like, it's ridiculous.
Mhm.
With the amount of money you guys make, I have no idea why you guys said that. Like, I understand they might not be drama, but it's like that's what the show is about. They found their perfect match blind, love is blind without seeing each other, and they're not starting drama. Yes, we love the drama. Drama is amazing, but I'm like, if you needed to save money, find some new hosts. Nick Lachey, Vanessa Lachey, nothing against them, but I've had it with them as the host doing the reunions. They need to move
Yeah.
on. But it's like you could have found a way to do it, and saying it's because budget reasons. Netflix, you guys have the money. Love is Blind is a big show. That's a cop out and bullshit to me. So that's why I was sort of frustrated with Netflix for a bit, is because it's like that just doesn't make sense to me. You guys have all the money being the top streamer in the world.
Yeah. Why was it cheaper to send the couple to Malibu versus Mexico? Malibu ain't cheap.
Well, they didn't have a camera crew following them. They had them record
Oh.
themselves with the phone
Oh,
camera.
dude. That's so low
Um,
budget. Oh my
and
gosh.
I think travel
Uh,
wise, everything that was included, it just costs more because I don't think they paid for them to do like activities the way they do in Mexico. You know how they're always ATV and zip lining, horseback riding, all of this stuff. Like I
yeah.
say, like I say, it makes no sense. I'm like, yes, the cameras probably cost $200,000, but you have thousands of cameras. You could have taken the lowest quality camera to and have and followed them in Mexico. It would have been fine.
That's wild.
Yeah,
That's crazy. Yeah, if you're gonna do stuff like that, then why even air the show with that many
yeah,
couples to begin with?
yeah,
Like, wow, this season was really successful. We didn't
yeah,
expect that.
yeah,
We expected some type of fallout earlier on. That's crazy.
yeah.
That they couldn't do that because of budget constraints. And I agree with you. I think I'm kind of fed up with Nick Lachey for other reasons. Uh, A, for the way he treated Jessica Simpson. Get out of here. And then two, have you seen the 98 Degrees like rebrand tour thing that they're
Nah.
trying to do like the Backstreet Boys NSYNC thing? I dude, it's terrible. It's really bad. Like they cannot sing at all. So yeah, building your career off of singing and then not being able to do it is hilarious.
Yeah.
White pants aren't in the same as they used to be, Nick. So I
No,
have
I
to
don't
say
think
that
so.
too, brother. Yeah, maybe take a step back on that one. But yeah, altogether, that is odd. It's very weird that they
Hmm.
can't budget that. I find that very strange.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, what a shame. What a shame.
Yeah.
Hope they had a good time in Malibu altogether. And I
Yeah.
think this was one of the couples that me and Jen were kind of briefly talking about, and they seem like a good couple, like a
Yeah.
great couple.
Yeah.
They couldn't have swapped him out for somebody else that
No, because
they want the people that fight.
they love the drama. They love all that stuff, and it's sort of like I get it. It's great television, but it's also like I I saw last season. I'll say last season sucked. I hated last season of this show.
Mm. Uh-huh.
It's Vera and mine's guilty pleasure. We love watching it because we just love seeing it. And it's funny when they fight. Some of the fights are just crazy.
Great.
If you haven't gotten close to the end, it gets crazy, Tim. It's so interesting. Some of these guys, puts a bad name for us fellas. Yeah, yeah, these fellas in this
Mm.
show sometimes just horrible.
Oh
Uh,
yeah. Speaking of which, I actually saw one. I don't know if it was this season or last season. Excuse me. It was they went out like this couple went out on a date, and I guess the guy left her a voicemail because she wasn't returning his phone call immediately after he left, and was like saying like, "Oh, I see how it is," and like was like cussing her out and said like, "I might block you, I don't know." And he just seemed like a total child. And I'm like, dude. And then I saw a picture of him, like a video clip of him, and I'm like, oh, bro, like, it just made me laugh even harder.
uh,
Yeah, no, I agree. Like
uh,
there's scummy dudes kind of coming out of the woodworks on
uh,
that show sometimes. And
uh,
and all reality TV.
uh,
They're out there. But um, you know, I guess like, the big picture, the limelight of things kind of exposes them, and that's probably a good thing. So
yeah, it's a good thing, and like I said, I think I've had this conversation with Vera because I was like, why do these people go on these shows and make a fool of themselves and just look
yeah.
ridiculous, especially with like dating shows? Like if you're just in a competition show and you're a scumbag, it's fine. It's totally fine, because it's a game show. You're trying to win money. This is a dating show, and you're giving your true self, like every single woman and female like these fellas try to hook up with after know their history because it's all out
Hmm.
there and how scummy and how bad they look. I'm like, it makes absolutely no sense. And same with some of the females. Like some of the things they do, it's like, it's gonna be a tough battle for you, moving after this. I think it might be easier for females to find a match after than men, but I'm just like, I I don't know what goes through these minds. I know a lot of people go on it for the clout, trying to be famous, but I don't think people that have done this show are getting famous at all from Love is Blind.
No, no, and I think that's why I haven't heard much on it since,
Yeah,
is because I haven't heard much about the success. Evidently, there has
yeah,
been some success with the
yeah.
show. But you're right, nobody's really built like big career out of it in comparison to like maybe like The Bachelor. I feel like people have made careers out of
Hmm.
that. Especially with their rerun shows, and maybe they'll
Yeah,
do that with Love is Blind. But yeah, it's a good concept show. Probably find some
yeah,
new hosts. I agree
yeah,
with you. Mix it up a bit. Not a problem. Ryan
yeah.
Seacrest available? Does he still do shows?
He might, but I think with this show, if you find some like matches that are fans from like the beginning, the first few seasons, because there still are some of them that are together with their partners that they picked on the show, having them come in and just ask questions, I think would be a lot better than Nick Lachey and Vanessa Lachey. They're just to me, it's just cringe, and I'm sorry to say that, but I'm just not a
Mhm.
fan.
Yeah. Maybe get some guest hosts. Let's get
Yeah,
Drewski in there. See how he mixes
Just
it up a bit.
that'd
It'll
be
be
a good one.
hilarious. Yeah, it would be. It would be.
uh,
It'd be a lot of fun.
but yeah, but that's Netflix, and I think the other reason I also have enjoyed Paramount, I would say a little bit better at times, is the sports that Paramount has. We talked about UFC.
Hmm.
Paramount does football. During NFL season, they always have
Hmm.
games because they have CBS under their umbrella.
That's great.
So I think that sort of helps them out a lot more than Netflix. I know Netflix is getting into the live podcast or podcasting. They're going that route, which I think is going to be very successful for them. Um, I will say though, I'm a big podcast fan, would watch it on YouTube a lot. Those that have gone to Netflix haven't really kept up with it, to be honest.
Okay.
Just
Hmm.
just myself.
Got it. I can think of a big name show. Probably won't mention them, but I can think of a big name show recently that did the changeover. Um, got a lot of backlash
Hmm.
because of it. Um, even if it's, and I was kind of surprised to see it, but I also kind of understand. Um, just going from a platform that's free minus, clicking through ads every once in a
Hmm.
while versus going to a paid subscription required
Hmm.
entity, will always give certain backlash to that. But
Yeah.
I've kind of seen that, and Netflix altogether has like a podcasting category now, right? Like
Yeah.
there's quite
That's
a
where they're
few
all
on there.
at.
It's
Yeah.
nuts. Yeah, I was surprised to see that. Was kind of glancing through quite a few. But yeah, no, they're all up and on there. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. So like I say, I think it could be a good concept. I understand why some of these people went to it because to stay relevant and also just financially, Netflix is
Hmm.
probably giving you a great bag. And hey, Netflix wants us to go on. I'll probably have to say yes because
Great.
it could be life changing. But like I say, it is something. I will admit I'm disappointed in myself that I haven't really followed through to listen to some of them on Netflix, and I hope I can in the future, but I just haven't done that. Because when I go on Netflix, I go for movies, and TV shows.
Yeah, predominantly me too. Speaking of which, I saw a lot on Bridgerton. New season came out.
Yeah.
Said Jen if she wants to watch it, she had already watched the whole thing. So I was like, "Oh, you want to rewatch it?" Because evidently there's just some new dances that are out there.
Okay.
And I was like mimicking one of them from an app. Just I was like, "Oh, what am I mimicking right now?" And then
Yeah.
she guessed it. But like some of those, like I like how Bridgerton has always like converted modern day music and made
Hmm.
it like the medieval
Yeah.
style. Um, Dude, there's some bangers in there. Like the
Yeah.
way they redo it,
Okay.
I'm like, I'd listen to it without the show. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Um, just put on like a 1700s outfit and be like,
Yeah.
oh, all you know, all whatever they call it, pop Fritz, just put
Yeah.
on an oversized coat. Um, but yeah, no, there's
Okay.
a lot going on with these newly released shows. I feel like there's just a lot of attention in streaming right now. There's a lot going on.
Yeah. There's a lot going on. One show, I don't know if you watch it or Jenny's probably been watching it. Love Story, the John F. Kennedy Jr., Caroline Bessette
Oh,
show.
yes. When I brought up, I think it was Bridgerton, she's like, "Oh, you want to get into a show? Watch that one." And I'm
Yeah.
like, I didn't just she must be just watching on her phone or something because I am shocked. I'm
You're
like,
like,
dude,
when did you watch that?
when did you watch this one? Um, but again, that's another one she recommended.
Yeah.
That one sounds awesome. Heard
That
really
it
good things.
good. It's really good, but what I really like about it, music,
Mm,
bangers of music. Just and I think it's for us unks, old heads, because it's
hmm.
music from back in the day. Songs that we
Mm,
haven't heard that just work perfectly in the show. So
yep.
it's one that I've enjoyed watching and watch it every week with Vera because we just want to see what music they come out with for that week.
No, it's great. Yeah, no, that's another one I definitely got to watch.
Yeah. But no, yeah, there's a lot out there for streaming, but we'll see what Warner Brothers, Paramount does, because like I say, it's a big merger, big acquisition, you know, because I'm looking, Paramount would suddenly own CBS, Paramount Pictures, Nickelodeon,
Oh,
MTV. Rumor is MTV's dead though, right?
I thought so because they did too many reruns of Rob Dyrdek show.
Hey.
Not the good show. Robin Big
Uh,
was the one that was good.
no, what was it called? I'm already,
Dude, I'm already blanking, even though it was on
yeah.
every literal minute of freaking MTV.
But hey, but shout out to him, the way he got that deal, because he
Oh,
got paid. This fool
oh, he
set
did.
generations.
Yes. No, he's ridiculousness. It was the name of the
Yeah,
show. And yes, he has reaped in the cash. That
yeah.
dude, like, didn't he co-start DC as well back in the
Mm-hmm.
day? That
Yeah,
was a massive brand.
yeah,
Clunkiest shoes of all time, but very
yeah,
popular. Um, yeah. And Robin Big, growing up, one of my favorite shows of all
yeah,
time.
yeah. Yeah, so, but hey, maybe this is the rebranding of MTV. Maybe they had to sort of shut down to get rid of ridiculousness and now finally go back to MTV the way it was supposed to be. But
Yep.
MTV, they got Showtime, Warner Brothers Film Library, HBO, DC, Max, and CNN. So
Wow.
they're dominating because they got a lot.
That's a lot. Dang. Cornering the market. Swoop right
Yeah,
under Netflix's
yeah,
toes there.
yeah. So. But yeah, that's that take.